Like the council has tickets or members of the council have?
Members of the council.
Oh,
Yeah.
all right. Like that's a nice perk to have.
Yeah.
If they,
Yeah.
we get $30
Yeah.
pre-tax.
Where are my seats at, you said? Yeah.
I'm sure they're all purchased legitimately.
Yeah.
You saved your pay for like all 4 years,
Yeah.
or maybe by 8.
Nosebleeds.
No parking.
Yeah.
No parking, but you
Yeah.
might be able to get
No.
a ticket.
Calling to order the Monday, September 8th, 2025 meeting of the 40th Council of the City of Berkeley. Ms. Mitchell, would you please call the roll?
Councilmember Baker,
Here.
Councilmember Black, Mayor Pro Tem Gavin,
Here.
Councilmember Hennon,
Here.
Councilmember Patterson,
Here.
Councilmember Valani,
Here.
Mayor Dean.
Here. Our first order of business is the approval of the agenda. Is there a motion to approve tonight's agenda?
So moved.
Motion made by Mayor Pro Tem Gavin with support from Councilmember Hennon. Are there any changes or corrections? Seeing none, Ms. Mitchell, please call the roll.
Black, Gavin,
Yes.
Hennon,
Yes.
Patterson,
Yes.
Valani,
Yes.
Baker,
Yes.
Dean.
Yes, the agenda has been approved. Please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. We've now come to the portion of the meeting where you may express your thoughts and opinions and views on items that are not on tonight's agenda. When you come to the microphone, please state your name and city of residence. You'll have 3 minutes to tell us what's on your mind and in your heart. Okay, I'm going to close public comments. Ms. Mitchell, please read the items on tonight's consent agenda.
1, approval of the minutes. Matter of approving the minutes of the 40th regular city council meeting on Monday, August 18th, 2025, and the special city council meeting on Monday, August 18th, 2025. 2, motion number M7225, matter of approving the 1-year extension of the current janitorial contract with LGC Global Energy FM LLC for the contract at a mutually agreed monthly fee of $7,616.65. 3, motion number M7325, matter of approving the purchase for a new air compressor from EDI of Fairhaven, Michigan, in the amount of $6,815.53. This purchase is budgeted under account number 101-443-787-000 Public Works Garage Tools. 4, motion number M7425, matter of approving a budgeted purchase of a new 2026 Ford Escape from Longhammer Ford of Owasso, Michigan, in the amount of $31,787. This purchase is budgeted under account number 101-441-985-000, building official vehicle. 5, motion number M7525, matter of approving a budgeted purchase of a new 2026 Ford F-250 from Longhammer Ford of Owasso, Michigan, in the amount of $54,303. This purchase is budgeted under account number 592-536-985-000, Public Works Vehicle. 6, motion number M7625, matter of updating the city's fee schedule to include an application fee for a payment in lieu of taxes pilot application. 7, motion number M7725, matter of authorizing the Berkley Instrumental Boosters Orchestra Association, 2325 Catalpa Drive, Berkley, Michigan, to conduct Berkley Tag Days 2025 in the city of Berkeley on Friday, September 26th from 4 to 8 p.m. and Saturday, September 27th from 8 a.m. to 8 p.m.
Thank you, Ms. Mitchell. Is there a motion to approve the consent agenda?
So moved.
Motion made by Councilmember Hennon
Support.
with support from Councilmember Baker. Are there any changes or corrections? Seeing none, Ms. Mitchell, please call the roll.
Gavin,
Yes.
Hennon,
Yes.
Patterson,
Yes.
Valani,
Yes.
Baker,
Yes.
Black,
Yes.
Dean.
Yes, the consent agenda has passed. Ms. Mitchell, please read item number 1 on tonight's regular agenda.
1, recognitions, presentations, matter of receiving any recognitions or presentations from the consent agenda.
Seeing none, please read item number 2.
Presentation, matter of receiving the 2024-2025 Community Development Department Annual Report.
Thank you. Ms. Van Vleck.
I believe our Community Development Director, Kristen Kaplansky, will give the annual report for our Community Development Department.
Good evening, Madam Mayor and members of council. This is something you've seen me do a few times now. This year, I was able to get it to you a little bit earlier than last year, so that's always a good goal. The Michigan Planning Enabling Act does require that the Planning Commission prepare an annual report, and we have expanded this annual report to be all of the Community Development Department. It also functions as an annual report for our redevelopment ready certification, which we're required to do as well. And we added a little bit more by including a work plan and listing some short and long-term projects that we intend to work on next year. There's several pages in here, so I know we have a full agenda. I'm going to be very brief, but I'm happy to answer any questions. A couple things I wanted to note that the Planning Commission was able to work through this year. The planned unit development for the Columbia was probably their biggest project. They saw that a couple times, as did you guys. So that was able to gain approval through Planning Commission and Council. The J on Woodward, which you'll remember is in the old wedding shop building. We actually just got building plans for them this week, so they're going to be moving forward with construction, but that was approved as well. And then we have the new restaurant that I wanted to highlight that will be opening late fall, hopefully, at Beverly and Coolidge. So that was something the Planning Commission was able to weigh in on. The activities for the Zoning Board of Appeals are listed too. A lot of those were dimensional variances. They had a couple murals in there as well. A couple of things I wanted to highlight from our building permit statistics. We were up in building permits this year, which is great. All of our trades were up in permits. So that's really good to see. There's some data too as far as some of our zoning certificates that we issue that's available to look at as well. Code enforcement, we tried to give you a picture example in there just so you could see every day what we're working on. But I did want to point out that our code enforcement activities that are detailed in the pie chart that's provided in the report, you'll notice most of it is grass and weeds and property maintenance and debris. So I feel like we're doing pretty good if we're focusing on things that can easily be cut back. Then you'll see a big category for monitoring and miscellaneous as well. Those are just reminders that we flag in our code enforcement system to make sure we're regularly going by problem properties. There's a list of city code amendments that were done. We did 4 different city code amendments in addition to the zoning ordinance rewrite and in coordination with DPW, the engineering design standards. The zoning ordinance got a page of its own. Thank you again for all of your work on that. It was adopted in March of 2025, and we have been putting it to use, as you'll see later in this meeting. And then a couple other accomplishments. We were able to work with HRC, our engineering consultant, on an online GIS interactive map for residents. It's available for council to use too. That's in the planning and zoning page. You'll see a link to interactive map. We have started to work on some economic development initiatives as well, with more to come. We were able to establish a short-term rental process, and we've also been working on zoning ordinance implementation. There was a lot of behind-the-scenes things that mainly Kim Anderson worked on. A couple things we worked on with some other departments. As I'd mentioned, the engineering design standards we worked on with DPW. That was with the assistance of HRC. And we were also able to, with a grant from SEMCOG, develop conceptual drawings for a potential Dorothea Plaza in the future. And we did work with other departments testing out a temporary closure this summer. And then lastly, some future things. I know I've been up here a lot talking about redevelopment ready every year, and we are so close. We hope to get the economic development strategy RFP out this month yet. So that should be completed, I think, by the winter time-ish. The development guide, we already have a draft together,
Good.
so some finishing touches on that. And the marketing strategy, I hope to have done by winter too. So hopefully in the spring, we're here with RRC presenting us our certification. There's a couple things that were included in the zoning ordinance that we've begun to look at as well. We'll be bringing those to council's attention to look at in the future. Some things to do with parking, and then secondarily performance guarantees. So those are bonds that we're going to look at adding in so that we have the fees left for things like site restoration. If somewhere were to start and then walk away from a site, we can at least make it safe again. And as part of that, we'll be working with our engineering consultant and DPW to come up with a little bit more robust pre-construction process and site inspection process too. We will look at potentially expanding the Berkley outdoor social scene, the Boss District. We've got some new activity on Coolidge, and it might make sense to look at that area of the city for a social district as well. And then you'll see some ordinance updates. One of the things that probably will be coming to you in the near future is updates to nuisance and noise. We've been working with public safety to modernize that ordinance. If you'll remember right now, the noise standards, for example, talk about reasonableness and what is bothering people, and that's not really a standard.
Right.
So we're going to look at putting something that's a little bit more concrete in there that public safety and code enforcement will be able to point to for things like that. I am happy to answer any questions. I know I kind of flew through that, but we have a long agenda.
No, it's a robust report, and I'm happy to see it, and I'm happy to see it early. You mentioned Kim Anderson and a lot of the work that she's done, so I just want to thank her personally. Kim Anderson, well done. And I also, the redevelopment ready, I know, and you mentioned that, it's
been a while.
and the biggest heavy lift was the zoning ordinance rewrite, correct?
Yes.
And so I'm sure you're breathing a sigh of relief having gotten over that hurdle. I know it was a heavy lift. I know there was a lot of input from committee and from your department and from council, and it was a lot, but it was necessary, and so I want to thank you for completing that, because it will open us up. The last things are already in process, and once those are complete, it opens us up to more resources, and I am grateful for that. And I'm encouraged too about seeing the Boss Social District extend to Coolidge. I think that will enhance what's already going on there. A lot of great things. So, so thank you for all of these things in the report, and specifically what I highlighted. Any questions or comments from council?
So you took it all.
Yeah, I think you took them all, but it is a very robust report, and I appreciate it. So thank you for that, and your staff for putting it together for us.
Sure.
And the residents.
Okay, I guess I was a time hog. Thank you. Ms. Mitchell, please read item number 3 on tonight's regular agenda.
Motion number M7825, matter of authorizing the city manager to enter into an agreement upon final review of the city attorney with Manquin Vance at a cost not to exceed $1,700 for additional fees. This is a budgeted item from account 101-270-818-000.
Is there a motion to approve M7825?
So moved.
Motion made by Councilmember
Support.
Kalani
Support.
with support from Mayor Pro Tem Gavin. Ms. Van Vleck.
Can y'all hear me?
I think our Human Resources Director, Jessica Stover, will
Hello?
take this, but just a little bit of an intro. We put out a request for qualifications about 2 months ago, roughly 2 months ago, and we were taking a look at if there was anyone else out there that we might be interested in for our healthcare benefits administrator. And so I won't take the wind out of Jessica's sails, but we went through that process, and this is how we came. She's going to explain how we came out of that and what the recommendation is tonight. And I think we have some people here also from the organization.
Okay, Ms. Stover, nice to see you, and we can't wait to hear.
Nice to see you too, Madam Mayor. So we did send out an RFQ, as Crystal stated. We received a response from 5 different benefit brokerages. It was not an easy decision. We had some really good options, but ultimately, after reviewing all 5 proposals, I am recommending that the project be awarded to Manquin Vance. Manquin Vance specializes in employee benefits consulting for Michigan municipalities. They offer solutions that address the unique needs and regulatory requirements of public sector employers. Both City Manager Crystal and I have experience working with Manquin Vance, and they have consistently demonstrated reliability, expertise, and a creative approach to improving employee benefit offerings and achieving cost savings. With that, I would like to introduce Mark Manquin and Kim Coolis to come up to the podium and answer any questions that you may have for them and give an overview of their organization.
Thank you. Welcome.
Thank you very much. Appreciate it. We are pleased to have won this contract. We've known both Crystal and Jess for several years, at least Kim has and most of my staff. We're really happy to continue to kind of build momentum in this market. I started the firm about 20 years ago, and soon thereafter started really focusing in the municipal market. And it does have the unique needs, as Jessica had mentioned, and we're really happy to be able to provide our services. We feel we bring a unique set of services, not only ourselves here, but everybody in our office. We work on municipalities every day, which is important to understand your union environment, your retirees, and all those unique needs. So I'll let Kim talk a little bit, but we're really happy and pleased to have won your trust.
Great. I won't talk too long. I know, Jess, you mentioned, cost savings, and we do a great job not only at strategic planning and making sure we have our arms around your benefits from a strategic standpoint, but also from customer service. I don't want to let that go by, because as important as it is to have a strategic plan, it's also important to take care of the members that are enrolled in your programs, because you are my customer, they are your customers as far as HR is concerned, and we want to make sure everybody's happy. And so we really take pride in really knowing the nuances of the needs of your members as well. So I'm excited to work with you guys, and I think we're going to do a great job. We won't let you down, and I think you're going to see a great improvement in those communications, not only at the executive level, but also at your member level.
Great. Any questions or comments from council? Councilmember Baker.
Oh, thank you, Your Honor. Thank you for being here tonight. Thanks for all your work in bringing this recommendation forward. Quick question about onboarding and ramp up from your guys' perspective. What's the usual time frame? What do you expect in terms of getting up to speed with our current stage and coming up with a more formal plan and introducing that to the employees? Just what can our employees in particular look forward to in your onboarding and ramp up process?
Oh, okay. So we don't like to step on each other's toes,
Yeah,
but basically
exactly.
what we're going to do is the very first action steps that we're going to take is to meet with our team, our own internal team, and then your team as well. And what we'll do is we'll come up with short-term and long-term goal planning. And most immediately what we're going to do is make sure we have all the benefit information that you guys currently offer to your employees, make sure that we're all on the same page with where are our sticking points, where are some educational points, because even though the city renews their benefits July, it's never too early to start planning for that, as well as looking for where there could be opportunities to help members learn about some of the challenges of their healthcare plan, what are their concerns, listening to their feedback. And at the same time that we're doing that from the member level, we're also working with the executive team to make sure that we're understanding strategically long-term what is your goal. And it could be financial, it could be filling in some holes, like I said, knowing and listening, and not just to medical, dental, vision. There's also employee benefit assistant programs. There's different wellness programs. There's many different things that we can talk about that could serve not only meeting strategic goals, but also member satisfaction goals as well. But we will meet at least every 2 weeks at the beginning. Then we go to a cadence of at least once a month, and then depending on the needs of where we are in the process, but there's always a regular cadence of meetings to make sure that we're staying in contact. Sometimes those meetings can last a couple hours. Sometimes they could just be touch point, where they're 15, 20 minutes. But we make sure that we're always, an extension of the HR department from that perspective. And then, there's obviously strategic goals that we're meeting with the rest of the executive team as well.
Thank you.
Councilmember Valani.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. So just for transparency, want to disclose that I work for Blue Cross, and the city is currently a Blue Cross customer, and I used to oversee our agent partnerships, but just do want to add in a vote of confidence that Manquin Vance has an impeccable reputation, as does Assured Partners, who they are with. So I think that you have selected a very strong partner to continue with our benefits.
Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, I think we're good. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. On to Monday Night Football, right?
For some of us.
Yeah.
Ms. Mitchell, please call the roll on M7825.
Hennon,
Yes.
Patterson,
Yes.
Valani,
Yes.
Baker,
Yes.
Black,
Yes.
Gavin,
Yes.
Dean.
Yes, the motion has passed. Ms. Mitchell, please read item number 4 on tonight's regular agenda.
Motion number M7925, Matter of approving the purchases of a new Moorbark BVR 13 brush chipper from Moorbark of Wynn, Michigan, in the amount of $52,012.45, and approving the corresponding budget amendment under account number 226-528-982-000 solid waste equipment.
Is there a motion to approve M7925?
So moved.
Motion made by Councilmember Hennan,
Support.
with support from Mayor Pro Tem Gavin. Ms. Van Vleck.
Our DPW Superintendent, Adam Wozniak, is here to talk about our proposed new chipper, and then also the budget amendment that comes along with it.
Good evening, everybody.
Good evening.
So I would like to speak about the new chipper that we would like to get. The main reason why we wanted to get this chipper is the recent we're redoing the chipper route now. The chipper that we're looking to get is a little bit smaller than what we currently have. It'll be a little bit easier for our mechanics to work on when it comes time for those repairs. Also with it, it's still large enough, so if we do have a large storm come through, we will have 2 chippers that should be able to handle bulk of the storm that will come through. So we also did a lot of looking around, trying to see what model we would like. We did like going back with Mobark. The service that they have, it's excellent. We call, they immediately come to say, hey, do you need us to send a guy down there? That service can't be beat. We did go with a little bit larger model than we initially wanted to. So that's why the budget needed to be amended up a little bit. We did find savings in the account, in our labor savings account. So, any questions?
How many chippers do we have currently? Just the one?
Just the one chipper right now.
Okay.
Currently.
Councilmember Hennan.
Yeah. Now, I know you might not have these figures offhand. I know I've been asking just how many people we've been servicing with the chipper route each week.
I don't. I say I.
Okay. I know.
Some we've had weeks where like 200, but we've also had weeks where it's been over 500. So we're getting used. I think more and more people know that the chipper's out. They're starting to get more and more things out. So, and then with fall cleanup, it's coming.
Did you have something? Yeah.
So we do want to give just a short presentation coming up here in the next couple months about where we've been at. Correct me if I'm wrong, but we're really getting into chipper season right now, where people kind of utilize it a little bit more. It was so hot, so we wanted to wait till we had a little bit more information to present kind of how the program's going. But we're fully intend to come forward and talk about how it's going. We want to get a little bit more information. We thought about actually doing it tonight with the purchase, but we wanted a little bit more time in this season to get some more information.
I think we're going to put it. It's being put to good use.
Yes.
More to come.
Yeah, definitely with this fall and spring cleanups, that's where we're going to see the much larger numbers.
Councilmember Baker.
Thank you, Your Honor. Thank you for bringing this to us here today.
No problem.
I know with our the fire engines and things, there's a long lead time between the time we push the button to execute and the time it actually is here and we can start riding around. What's the usual lead time for this? Will this thing see service this fall for us, or is it we get it next July or something? Or?
Actually, if approved, we are hoping to get it by late November. November. When it comes for Christmas tree pickup and stuff like that, that'll be the perfect chipper for it.
Great. Will there be additional training requirements? This is significantly different enough than the other one, or is it about the same? And
this is it's pretty much like I said, turnkey with it. We just previously had a chipper training through Mobark with our current model that we have. The same model is pretty identical. It's just a little smaller gas engine, stuff like that.
All right. Thank you.
Yep.
Any other questions? Councilmember Black.
You mentioned repairs. What is our annual spend on repairs for the one chipper? And then if we get this chipper, is the plan to use them both simultaneously or to swap them out to try to maximize their life?
annual spend on maintenance, roughly, and then is the plan to swap these out? I think, I understand you saying that both will be in operation like for a storm, but on a day-to-day, is it gonna be just one or both?
That's going to be dependent on it. So if we have a storm, then we would definitely send both chippers out to get it cleaned up as fast as possible. As of right now, traditionally, we want to keep the smaller chipper for the brush route and leave the larger stuff for the bigger chipper. For maintenance costs, is that the annual? I don't have that figure offhand. Sorry.
Thank you. Any other comments or questions?
I just have, so what is the benefit of having the smaller one as opposed to the larger one? Like what can the smaller one do that the larger one can't?
Carrying the larger chipper itself, it's like for the cost of the repair for like more of a diesel engine, that's going to be more of a toll. It's harder to work on a diesel engine than the smaller gas engine. The smaller gas engine, it's going to be it's easier on the truck pulling it. There's a little more functionality with it, like to get in harder places with because it's a lot shorter than the larger one that we have. So it's to get into places a little bit easier if we need to get into those places. But generally in that situation, I'm assuming that's going to be a storm where we're going to be off a little. We're going to have a little space between us and whatever limbs and whatever thing like that.
Thank you.
Yep.
Okay, any public comment on this agenda item? Seeing.
Did he come back off mute? Sorry.
Councilmember Black, did you have anything else to add?
No, I guess I'm still trying to understand from a value standpoint, if we're going to spend $52,000, I'm still trying to kind of understand is this a savings? Is this going to be more efficient? Because I kind of, to Councilmember Patterson's question, it seems like the bigger one can do everything the smaller one can, and I'm still not hearing the value part for $52,000. So that's why I say maybe it's something in the repairs, or I'm just trying to figure out the plus minus, and I'm not really hearing that.
Well, if we ever had a time where we are down on our larger chipper, we don't really have a quick repair for it if it's a much larger situation, and then we'd be down for brush pickup. With the smaller one, with the gas engine and everything, that we would have an easier turnaround time with it. That helps.
Yeah, City Manager Van Black, sorry.
I just wanted to add that this was one of the things that when we were going through the CIP process that we talked about, prioritizing being able to respond quickly if we had something down. If one was down, we'd have accessibility. We could have them both out at the same time if necessary. So this was kind of the discussion that we had at that point, which is why it made its way in there. And so, Sean, I see you walking up if you have more context to add.
I think the big thing to remember is we have one chipper right now. If that chipper goes down, we have no chipper service.
Right.
What we looked at was the alternative: do we replace the chipper we have and still retain one chipper, or do we add another smaller unit to supplement brush route, keep our larger chipper, take some of the weight off of it, and now we have two chippers. One goes out of service, we can grab the other one, keep running chipper out. The larger storm comes, now we can separate crews, run two individual crews, and get the brush picked up quicker. Mainly with the smaller, there's no new emissions to diesel, drives the cost up. It also, if you see the chipper running around town, you hear it revved all the way up. That diesel, you can't idle it. It has to stay revved up to retain that heat for the emissions. The gas engine, we can idle down between stops, so it'll save us some fuel, save us some wear and tear. It's just more appropriate for the brush route compared to that large chipper. But we still need that large chipper. Big storm damage, that'll take a 15-inch saw, you put it through, save us a ton of time.
Thank you. Any other questions or comments from council? Okay, thank you. Ms. Mitchell, please call the roll on M7925.
Patterson,
No.
Villani,
Yes.
Baker,
Yes.
Black,
No.
Gavin,
Yes.
Hennon,
Yes.
Dean.
Yes. The motion has passed. Ms. Mitchell, please read item number 5 on tonight's regular agenda.
Motion number M8025, matter of approving the proposal from Bureau Veritas to complete a space utilization study at City Hall at a cost not to exceed $5,000. These funds will come from account 101-267-931-101.
Is there a motion to approve M8025?
So moved.
Support.
Motion made by Councilmember Patterson with support from Councilmember Baker. Ms. Van Vleck.
I'll introduce our facilities manager, Alex Brown, to talk to us about this agenda item.
Good evening.
Brown, hello.
Something kind of an add-on thing from our facilities assessment we had back in the last winter. This is a space utilization study that will be taking place in the City Hall building. One, to kind of see how we're using the space currently. 2, how we can better use the current space. And 3, how we can use, or what spaces we'll require in the next 10 years or so. Staffing-wise, just configuration-wise, things we can do better, and based on best practices, state requirements, U.S. Department of Commerce planning standards, stuff like that. So similar to last time, Bureau Veritas will come in, they'll send a consultant out, we'll kind of tour the building, they'll look at plans, they'll interview kind of each department, see what they're thinking for future staffing needs, future office needs, conference rooms, all the logistics of things like that, and come back with a comprehensive report like we presented back in February or March, I believe, with the facilities assessment. So something like that. They're about 2 weeks out. If approved tonight, they'll be out in about 2 weeks. It'll probably take them a week or so to do it, and then we should have a report in 30 to 35 days.
Okay, thank you.
If I could just add, for anyone just watching at home and isn't familiar, but we did a facilities assessment, as Alex stated, back in the winter, and that looked at the condition of our buildings and what it takes to maintain them over the years and what it would take to, if we really wanted to reinvest in them. This was an add-on that was provided at the time that we're going to take advantage of that takes it a little bit further, specifically for City Hall, to give us the opportunity to look at what our spatial needs are. As Alex attested to, there are certain standards out there, but even just how we see growth in the next 10 years and how we will expand staff-wise, and that gives us a much better picture of what we need in the next 10 years. So as we start to think about how this building, what we know now, what this building, the condition of it is in, but what we don't know is what our spatial needs are. We know what we fit into, but what our spatial needs really are, and to dig into that, not just now, but in the future, so we just have a handle on what that looks like.
Good plan. Have you mentioned speaking with directors and staff and, have there been larger discussions, like within City Hall with all directors, also kind of like brainstorming, as well as, I know some spaces are shared spaces, and would that continue, would it not? And I'm not asking you for those answers, but have those questions been considered, and will they be considered as a group, I guess?
Yeah, absolutely.
Separate from like each individual department, but.
Yeah, what they're planning on doing is meeting with each individual department and kind of getting a wish list of what, in a perfect world, what we could get, and then we'll kind of all meet back, probably Crystal and Sean and I will kind of have a sit down and look at that and kind of say these are the high priority items that make the most sense for now and for the potential future development or changes to City Hall.
Great, thank you. Any questions or Councilmember Hennon?
Yeah, so my understanding just from the cost that because it's an add-on, it's a significant savings as compared if we went out and bid and tried to get this.
Correct, yeah, and they are a part of the, I think they're either a Sourcewell or a MyDeal corporation or a contract that we had tied in with the initial facilities assessment. So all that information is available from that initial proposal.
And then I know some of our spaces aren't as accessible as we'd like them. They're going to be looking towards that as well?
Absolutely, yeah, and it's part of any renovation, where we're doing physical moving of walls or anything like that. Those ADA and other best practices will come into place and be part of any future plans or changes to the building.
Okay, thank you.
Like the facilities report, do you anticipate them giving the estimated cost if for moving walls and things like they did for the facilities, about how much it would be, or an estimate?
I think what their plan is more they're going to kind of give us what makes sense for what we're telling them. Like, as much information as we can give them, they'll be able to give us back. I don't think they're going to give us a dollar and cent thing. I think the next step would be, okay, we have this, now we need to speak with maybe an architect or a designer to kind of figure out what give them these specs, and they can design it into something we need. I don't think there'll be a cost association with it.
Councilmember Black, do you have anything on this agenda item?
No, Madam Mayor, thank you.
Mm-hmm. Any public comment? Seeing none, if council doesn't have anything further, Ms. Mitchell, please call the roll on M8025.
Valani,
Yes.
Baker,
Yes.
Black,
Yes.
Gavin,
Yes.
Hennon,
Yes.
Patterson,
Yes.
Dean.
Yes, the motion has passed. Ms. Mitchell, please read item number 6 on tonight's regular agenda.
Motion number M8125, matter of approving the proposal for appraisal of city-owned properties from ZBRE Inc.
Is there a motion to approve M8125?
So moved.
Motion made by Councilmember Baker.
Support.
With support from Mayor Pro Tem Gavin. Ms. Van Black.
Community Development Director, Kristen Kaplansky.
Good evening again. So this ties a little bit into what Alex was just talking about, trying to assess what we have here, and then also an additional property that the city currently owns. That additional property is at 3501 Griffith. It's near Griffith and 12 Mile. It's a vacant residentially zoned lot with the parking overlay over it right now. We don't have a planned use for it in the future, but the adjacent property owner has potentially expressed some interest in expanding parking. And before we're able to have those sorts of conversations with anyone, we really need to know what the market value of that is. So part of this item is for an appraisal of that property. And then also, we were looking at an appraisal of the property that we're all sitting on right now. So the facilities assessment did include all of the municipal buildings. It did talk about the costs for maintaining this particular building to exceed really what it would be worth potentially in the future. So when we're looking at different options for the city hall property, and particularly with the spatial assessment and everything, we need to know what this property is worth as well.
Sure.
So you'll see outlined in the packet a couple different appraisals options for the city hall property, 2 different scenarios. One, the value of the area that we're on, including the municipal parking lot, including Rosemont and the municipal parking lot across the street, and then also the value excluding the public safety building, because that was found to be in much better shape than this particular building. The historical portion of City Hall obviously would have to stay, but they would look at the value of that too. We did get a couple different quotes for this. This was the lesser of the 2 options. So I'm happy to answer any questions. And I should also add that this is a budgeted item coming out of the municipal services budget.
Thank you. Any questions or comments from council? Councilmember Baker.
Thank you, Your Honor. Thank you for this here. Similar to the information that Alex had provided, about how long will this take? When do they imagine starting? That kind of stuff.
Yeah,
Give us a
they
little
can.
timeline.
They can start as soon as they get a signed contract from us. They think it'll take about a month.
Okay. Cool.
Yeah.
And so we'd see a report to that effect by the end of the year, same as the other one then, right? Yeah.
Yeah, in whatever form the city manager's office wants it presented to council, we will have it available to you.
Ooh, it's my chance to get an interpretive dance.
Don't go that far.
Aw.
Any other questions or comments from council? No? Okay. Public comment on this agenda item. Seeing none, Ms. Mitchell, please call the roll on M8125.
Baker,
Yes.
Black,
Yes.
Gavin,
Yes.
Hennon,
Yes.
Patterson,
Yes.
Valani,
Yes.
Dean.
Yes. The motion has passed. Ms. Mitchell, please read item number 7 on tonight's regular agenda.
Motion number M8225, matter of considering special land use approval for a gas station convenience store in the Flex District at 2114 West 11 Mile Road on the northwest corner of 11 Mile Road and Henley Avenue.
Is there a motion to approve M8225?
So moved.
Motion made by Councilmember Hennon
Support?
with support from Councilmember Valani. Ms. Van Vleck.
Mrs. Kaplansky is also handling this item.
Okay.
So this was recently at the Planning Commission, and I want to go through the history a little bit because it's a little bit tricky to understand. This has been a vacant gas station property for a number of years now. It exceeds the amount of time that it would be able to retain its non-conforming use status. In the previous ordinance, gas stations in the district that this property was zoned were not allowed. Now we have the new ordinance, which is the flex district for this property, and in the flex district, gas stations are allowed as a special land use. Because it had been vacant for so long, we approach it as a brand new use consideration, since it's lost its non-conforming use status. But it's important to keep in mind that there are some non-conformities from the dimensional requirements that still stay in place. They don't lose those. So we're not looking at things like setbacks or anything like that. We are looking at the use and whatever part of the site that they are proposing to alter, which in this case is really nothing. So they're going to use the site as is. They will have to restripe the parking lot. There were some things that the Planning Commission talked about in terms of adding some landscaping, and I'll mention those types of details. But generally, the site's going to stay as is with some needed maintenance. And you're asked this evening to consider whether or not approval for a gas station as a special use is appropriate on that property. The Planning Commission, you'll see in the minutes, did spend quite a bit of time kind of going through the different standards. So I would refer to their discussions for different reasons of how, in their opinion, it did meet the standards for special land use approval. They also held the required public hearing. There were no people that were there to speak in support or against, and we also received no correspondence, and it was noticed. There are also several automotive standards that are outlined in the staff review. This is a little bit tricky too. Since this is a new use, essentially, the automotive standards can apply. So the dimensional requirements of those can apply, but the dimensional requirements that generally apply to every site we don't look at. Most of the automotive standards have to do with canopy, and they are not proposing a canopy. There is one deficient standard that's outlined in the automotive uses, and that's the front yard pump island setback that they do not meet. They would need to go to the Zoning Board of Appeals for that, and that would be their stop after this, should you approve anything this evening. There were several conditions that the Planning Commission added to their recommendation of approval motion. The variance for the front yard setback at the ZBA, shielding of lights, so they have some lights there, they just require shields. That was a condition that staff felt was important to make sure we're not spilling onto adjacent properties, and one of the things that we can consider because it talks about how it's affecting the properties around it, which is really the focus of special land uses. They asked that the trees and shrubs along Henley be trimmed to make sure we have adequate corner clearance for safety reasons. And then lastly, one of the staff recommendations was that the Planning Commission talked through how the applicant could potentially add some green space to the site. So they ended up landing at the installation of some landscape planters along Henley to clearly delineate the sidewalk from the site. If you'll notice, if you look at an aerial, it looks like one big expansive pavement. So that would act as a little bit of a buffer as well. If that wasn't practical, because there were some concerns whether or not the fueling truck for the underground tanks could maneuver around something like that, then they were comfortable deferring to me and having staff look at potentially, instead of that, converting part of the pavement along Henley and that northeast corner to some green space. They do have some extra parking spaces to lose, so there's some space to work with. As I said, they recommended approval. I would ask that any motions that council makes recommending approval reference the special land use standards and include the conditions noted in the Planning Commission's motion. The applicant's also here this evening if you have any questions for him.
Sure, thank you. Any questions or comments from council?
I have
Councilmember
some.
Fulton.
Can we ask the property owner?
Yeah.
Okay, perfect.
Hello, Council. Hello, ma'am. My name is Farid Gaji.
Welcome.
Thank you.
So a couple of questions for you about the space. I live a block away from it, so I drive by it at least 4 or 5 times a day.
Sure.
My understanding is just by looking at it, there was like a service center on one part, and then there's the gas stations and like a convenience area. Through the notes, it says like there's not really going to be many changes, but it doesn't sound like you're going to have a service center. So can you just maybe more clearly explain like what the end is going to look like, any updates to the property that you would be making?
So we are gonna paint the outside. Any rotted wood, anything that's bad, we're gonna change it. And whatever the requirement that Kristen said, we're gonna put the green space and the shield lights and whatever you guys tell us to do, we're gonna do it. Plus, we're not using the mechanic shop. We are only gonna operate the convenience store, a small convenience store, and the gasoline pumps. We're not moving anything. We're not adding anything. It's just the way it is.
So will the mechanic side be empty, or will that be integrated into the convenience store?
As of today, is gonna be empty, just like a back room.
Okay.
Plans in the future, we don't know. We don't know if the business is gonna do good or not. We're hoping it's gonna do good.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Any other questions or comments from council? Okay, Mr. Fadi, thank you.
Thank you.
Mr. Kaji, sorry. Public comment on this agenda item? Seeing none. Councilmember Black, do you have anything you'd like to add or ask?
No, not at this time, Your Honor.
Okay, thank you. Ms. Mitchell, please call the roll on M8225. Great,
Point of
sorry.
order. We need a more formal motion.
Right, based on what she was saying.
Got it, okay, who wants to do that? So, Councilmember Hennan, you were the original motioner.
Yeah. Well, I'm in support of this. I think the Planning Commission did a excellent job reviewing all of the issues and all the standards. So the motion I would make is that we approve the special land use based on the findings that the Planning Commission found and the standards of approval in Chapter 138, Section 10.03, and incorporate the conditions recommended by the Planning Commission.
Councilmember Vellani, are you good with that?
I am.
Okay.
Support.
Thank you. Now, Ms. Mitchell, please call the roll on M8225.
Black,
Yes.
Gavin,
Yes.
Hennan,
Yes.
Patterson,
Yes.
Valani,
Yes.
Baker,
Yes.
Dean.
Yes, the motion has passed. Ms. Mitchell, please read item number 8 on tonight's agenda.
Ordinance number 0725, matter of considering the first reading of an ordinance of the City Council of Berkley, Michigan to amend section 14-36, outdoor uses in connection with Class C liquor license establishments of the City of Berkley Code of Ordinances to address incorrect zoning ordinance references.
Is there a motion to approve O0725?
So moved.
Support.
Motion made by Councilmember Patterson with support from Councilmember Vellani. Ms. Kapelansky.
Yes. So as we've started using the new zoning ordinance with the following agenda item and also this item, we come across things that we might have missed in the city code. And one of these is this cleanup amendment that's before you for outdoor seating references. Mm-hmm. We're not changing the substance of anything in how we do outdoor seating reviews. What we are doing is removing references to sidewalk cafes because those are no longer referenced in the zoning ordinance. And we're also cleaning things up a little bit to match with how we've traditionally reviewed temporary sales of consumption of liquor. So I'm happy to answer any questions. This is mainly here just to make sure the zoning ordinance and the city code match.
Yes, I get it. Any questions or comments from council? Councilmember Hennan.
A few meetings ago, we had Slows in for their liquor license. Is this, we've struck the section on receipt to forward for council review. Would they have to come before us with this changed ordinance, or is that a different section?
No, so they came before you, the downtown liquor license, obviously, and then they also were before you to be added to the social district, which was another resolution you had to do. The part in here that deals with council approval is for the temporary sale and consumption of liquor, so it would have nothing to do with SLO's permanent sale. They are done with you guys unless they're changing something in their application with the state.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you. Any other questions or comments from council? Councilmember Black?
Nothing, Your Honor.
Thank you. Any public comment on this agenda item? Seeing none, Ms. Mitchell, please call the roll on O0725.
Gavin,
Yes.
Hennan,
Yes.
Patterson,
Yes.
Valani,
Yes.
Baker,
Yes.
Black,
Yes.
Dean.
Yes, the ordinance is passed. Ms. Mitchell, please read item number 9 on tonight's regular agenda.
Ordinance number 0825, matter of considering the first reading of an ordinance of the City Council of Berkley, Michigan to amend Article 2 definitions, Article 6 site design-based districts, Article 9 general provisions, Article 11 sign regulations, Article 14 off-street parking loading and access standards, and Article 15 site plan review procedures and requirements of Chapter 138 zoning of the Berkley Code of Ordinances, to add definitions for business services and live-work units, to clarify site area governs site layout, to clarify the reviewer for fences, to allow ground-mounted solar energy systems in residential districts, to clarify regulations for residential driveways, to modify the width requirements for attached garages, to clarify regulations for detached accessory buildings and swimming pools, to clarify regulations for window signs and temporary signs, to clarify clear vision zone requirements, to add regulations for areas of residential parking and recreational vehicles, to clarify requirements for where on-street parking may be counted as individual business parking, and to clarify requirements and procedures for pre-application and preliminary site plan review.
Well done.
Yes.
Is there a motion to approve O0825?
So moved.
Motion made by Mayor Pro Tem Gavin,
Support.
with support from Councilmember Hennan. Ms. Kapelansky?
So I've already mentioned this a few times this evening, but this is another package of ordinance amendments that's before you. As we've started to use the zoning ordinance, you'll notice most of these start with clarify. There's a couple definitions that are proposed to be added. And these are all things that have come up as we've started to use the ordinance, which we anticipated would be the case. All of these are either clarifications or very minor changes. We're not changing anything substantial. I'm happy to go through any of them that you want to, but it's quite a long list. So maybe I'll just hold for questions instead of jumping right into that.
Okay.
The Planning Commission did hold the required public hearing. They didn't have any questions. They recommended approval. We did not receive any comments on any of the amendments.
Thank you. Councilmember
I
Piven?
just have one question for section E2 and 3. So, I don't know what page mine is on. It's going to help you out, but I don't have a page number.
What do you know the section?
Section 14.04.
Okay.
It's under the picture, if
Yes.
that helps.
Yep.
Okay.
Thank you.
It says no parking is permitted on any residential lot except for hard surface material. Can you give examples of that? Is that gravel, wood,
It can
cement block?
It can be gravel. It can be cement. It can be asphalt. It's
Okay.
really not cement blocks or wood.
Okay. So it's a permanent more than I've seen before where people park on cement blocks or like paver blocks and say it's a hard surface.
It's a driveway, basically.
Okay.
What we're
Okay.
saying, like you can't just park on the grass.
Sure. And then same with the other one. Recreational vehicles must be stored in accessory structure or the rear of the yard. So
That
on
was
the
in-
hard surface. so
Yeah, that was
same.
included in the previous ordinance, and it just got left out of this
Okay.
one, and we didn't notice until someone had a recreational vehicle stored incorrectly.
Perfect. Thank you.
Any other? Yes, Councilmember Hennan.
Yeah, as you spoke to, we expected that there'd be a number of changes. Are we expecting many more? How do you think we're doing?
This is the bulk of them. We do have a round 2 list started, but right now it's about a quarter of the size of this.
Oh.
And it's really just coming up like the recreational vehicle example I just gave. It's coming up as we're using things and trying to apply the standards and noticing, oh, we probably should have added a definition for this or something like that. But I think there'll be one more round, but I think it'll be smaller. And I wouldn't anticipate much beyond that.
And then overall, how is the new system going? How do you?
It's working really well. It was a little bit it was a little bit hard to get used to because we're doing things a little bit differently with the site design-based districts. But I think people are starting to get the hang of that, at least people who are regularly calling developers. And so far, we really haven't noticed anything that we haven't been able to apply in the way that the zoning ordinance committee and the council intended. And we haven't noticed any big holes. Really, it's been all of these little things that we're just catching, but it's been going well.
Okay, thank you.
And I appreciate that once you start putting something into use, you know what it means. You've worked on it for all these months and months and months, and so it makes sense to you, but then all of a sudden you apply it, and then you're like, oh, yeah, we could tweak this. We could add this definition. And so it's just kind of, I think, a natural part of when you put something into use. And so I like that the responsiveness that you're bringing to this and understanding that there will be more. So yeah, and that's how it gets to like the best moment that it can be. So thank you. Any other questions or comments from council? Councilmember Black?
Nothing, Your Honor.
Thank you. Any public comment on this agenda item? Seeing none, Ms. Mitchell, please call the roll on O0825.
Black,
Yes.
Gavin,
Yes.
Hennon,
Yes.
Patterson,
Yes.
Malani,
Yes.
Baker,
Yes.
Dean.
Yes, the ordinance has passed. Ms. Mitchell, please read item number 10 on tonight's regular agenda.
Motion number M8325, matter of authorizing the rollover budget amendment for the 2025-26 budget as presented.
Is there a motion to approve M8325?
So moved.
Motion made by Mayor Pro Tem Gavin.
Support.
With support from Councilmember Hennon. Ms. Van Vleck.
I'll introduce our finance director, Carl Johnson. He's going to do this item and the next.
Good evening, Mr. Johnson.
Good evening, Mayor and Council. I'm happy to be back here tonight. What you have before you, well, first, before I do that, boy, the Community Development Department is just incredible. I've only been here a year or so, but they don't have a whole lot of people, and they got a whole lot going on. So it's just, it's very impressive, along with everybody else, even Sean and these guys over there. But,
Even though.
this really is, every day that goes by is just, we really have a great team in place, and Crystal, she's whipping us into shape, so it's pretty awesome. So back to the agenda item. See, that's why they tell me to shut up and sit down most of the time. Back on the agenda item. So what happens at the end of each fiscal year, your annual budgets lapse. So the revenue budget stops, the expenditure budget stops, and they close into fund balance annually. But what happens is there's items usually in the capital nature that aren't finished. Example last year was the HVAC system. We had signed a multi-million-dollar contract, and it wasn't done at the end of last year. But what happens is budgets lapse. At June 30, the budget goes away, and the new budget takes place. So what we do is at the end of each year, the beginning of the next year, we do what's called a rollover budget, and that's what's before you tonight. So what's on there is not a whole lot of things. There's a half dozen or more of items that were in last year's budget that were not complete and that we're asking for you to re-budget them or roll them over into next year. So it may look like, if you look at the actual amendment, it says to decrease fund balance by $422,000, I think, for the general fund. We're not dipping into fund balance. What happens is the results from last year are $422,000 higher because we didn't spend it. And you'll see that, actually the next item here is our budget to actual report. That we ended up $400,000 better because these budgeted items we didn't get to spend. But we're going to spend. We have commitments to spend them, et cetera. So we're re-budgeting them into next year. So it's a net zero impact. And so that's literally all this is taking these items from last year's budgets that were incomplete and re-budgeting them into next year. And if you look at our budget to actual report, the next one on there, we started our budget for the general fund with a 0, and our current budget, or the final budget we had for last year, said we're going to dip into fund balance by 500,000. That was that rollover from the year before that we just roll over into the next year. So every year it's kind of an item. Trust me, it's hard for me to do, but I yell at the department heads. I'm like, you got a budget, get out there and spend it. But you know, the economy, I guess it really hurts. But the economy and everything else goes on. The lead time is just, we just can't possibly spend everything. Like I say, I'm happy that there's only a handful of items here in the current year. So, general fund and Parks and Rec, I believe that was, we're doing the library. The Parks and Rec one was, I think, the parking lot. I actually have to read these things too. Jeez, the Bacon Park Pavilion was the big one on that one over there. So about 140,000 in the Parks and Rec fund and 422,000 in the general.
Thank you. Questions or comments from council? Okay, Councilmember Black, you good?
Good, Madam Mayor.
Okay. Any public comment on this agenda item? Seeing none, Ms. Mitchell, please call the roll on M8325.
Hennan.
Yes.
Patterson.
Yes.
Valani.
Yes.
Baker.
Yes.
Black.
Yes.
Gavin.
Yes.
Dean.
Yes. The motion has passed. Ms. Mitchell, please read item number 11 on tonight's agenda.
Motion number M8425, matter of accepting the quarter ended June 30th, 2025 budget to actual report.
Is there a motion to approve M8425?
So moved.
Motion made by Councilmember Valani
Support.
and with support from Councilmember Hennan. Mr. Johnson.
Thank you, Mayor. What I like to do, so remember our quarterly reports, I give you quarterly reports on our financial results. The end of the fiscal year is tricky because anything and everything has to be accounted for at the end of the year. The accounting rules are like, you have to look at everything. Payroll, the payroll that starts June 26th and ends July 4th, I have to bust up the number of days and allocate so many days into last year, so many days into this year. Revenue sharing, the state of Michigan has a crazy rule that says the August revenue sharing, August 31st revenue sharing payment has to go back into last year. And oh, by the way, they don't tell us what that is until the first week in September. Our Act 51 revenues, the May revenue for our streets we receive in July, and the June we receive in August. All of those things are required to go back and be included in last year, but the information's just not there. As well as getting ready for the auditors, we want to make sure anything and everything is in there. So the report you have before you is not 100% complete. That's what I tried to make sure that was in the memo. The high-level synopsis, though, is that we are still doing very well. We're on very solid ground, and we continue to live within our budgets and live within our means in every fund in every department. So a few examples of that. In the general fund, every single department is under budget, which is a great thing because that means I have savings and we have savings, and that we can use for capital related items. Because while we're living within our budgets, we still know that there isn't a lot of money. There's little, if any, money available for capital related items. So we created that new capital fund. So we'll be meeting shortly before the auditors get here with the city manager to determine what to do with the surplus. Our goals, as we discussed in the audit, or in the budget session, was keep our fund balance target in the general fund where it is, and then any under budget amounts like we have in the current fiscal year, let's take those and set those aside for capital, like the fire truck we're trying to fund and those kind of things as well. So we'll be looking at those things before we finalize the numbers. Our audit actually starts a week from today, so we're close to having the numbers done, but still there's always the last minute stuff to get that in there. So some other things as well, if you recall, in the water sewer fund, we're trying to build up our catastrophic cash reserve. That is right on track. We tried to finish up all of our capital projects in the street funds, in the infrastructure fund, and the water and sewer fund. So we finished up all those projects with our massive project that's starting in the current fiscal year, that multi-year project to replace the water mains. I think it's $7 or $8 million, somewhere in that range. What's it? Bacon, yes. How can I forget bacon? Love bacon.
I
The Bacon Avenue project. Again, we were gearing up, make sure we had the reserves to do that all at one time, as opposed to doing half of it and then going the next year. So we're on track with all of those things. Again, very exciting news. We created the new opioid fund that is in there and budgeted well. All the restricted funds are out of the general fund into its own fund. We created the new parking fund with the new parking ordinance. So all of the parking funds collected are now being set aside for the maintenance and possible purchase of parking lots and maintaining the parking funds. What other fun stuff do we have? Just all kinds of fun stuff. I mean,
Sounds like great fun.
It is.
Yeah.
It actually is a lot of fun. But I'm excited, in case you didn't notice, to give great reports like this. Again, this is, it's nice to work with a team that really has a common goal. And again, the financial results show that everybody cares and that they're all living within their means. So, like I say, a lot of exciting stuff coming, and but the report you have before you shows that. And if you have any specific questions on it, I'd be happy to answer them. But again, I'll be back again with another short 3-minute, 30-minute presentation on the actual results. We were still hoping to have the audit done by November this year, so we're hoping to have it as early as we've had it in many years.
Yes.
So, and at that point, we'll go over the actual results.
Thank you. Any questions or comments from council? Yeah.
Real quick, just a big thank you to the finance director. Carl and his team have just done a wonderful job. There's a lot of things that have been accomplished this year, and there was a lot to do. So things like our policies and a lot of our policies are in the background. They are doing quite a bit to help with the efficiencies and streamlining processes. But at the same time, making sure that budget is on and having the conversations with the departments to better understand when to spend things, how to spend things. And I just think they've done a really great job in the little time that they've had to do this. And especially just even talking about the fact that auditors are here in September is just crazy.
Yeah.
So thank you, Carl. So that we can get that out of the way and then continue to work on the things that they have been working on. And so there's a lot going on in the background while still doing the things that need to be done on a day-to-day basis. So thanks, Carl.
Well, and I'll just add that, you mentioned how it's so great to work with departments that are committed and professional and doing all these things, but I will just commend your leadership as well as City Manager Van Vleck, because the leadership does start from the top. And so if you have, you have a team that respects you and your timeline and understands the work and what needs to be done, then everybody's rowing in the same direction, so to speak, and it does make for a very different work environment, a different work product. And certainly, we're encouraged to hear that the auditor is I don't know that I've heard it that early. So, and it's nice to have that elbow room and the breathing room and not feel rushed and stressed to get all these things done. So thank you for that. Oh, Councilmember Hennon, I am so sorry.
That's all right. Yeah, so one strategy we use, correct me if I'm wrong, is we budget conservatively, and we expect that we're going to have a surplus at the end of the year, like we often do. If we don't, if things do go, use up that budget, then we have that, we built that buffer in. But if they don't, which we sort of planned, we then have that to invest back into the community, to invest into our capital uses.
Yeah, it's a fine line. I don't like to have too much fluff in there. That's the Carl word. You want realistic budgets. I don't want to come $200,000 under budget when we've had the opportunity to do something with the $200,000. I want realistic budgets, but you have a team that sticks within those budgets. It's a violation of the Budget Act to go over budget in governmental funds. So it's important that they're set realistically, but not so tight that we're back before you every single meeting asking for $5 more and those kind of things. So the expectation is everybody comes in under budget, to your point, and therefore if everybody comes in under budget, there will be surplus. It's just a matter of how much it's going to be.
And then the water fund, this was also planned, that we're building back our reserves, because if there's an emergency in the water system, it can be a catastrophic failure in something. It can be millions of dollars, and we need to have that money in reserve, and needed to build that back up this year.
Yeah, literally a year and a half ago, 2 years ago, the water fund had zero cash.
Yeah.
Zero
and
cash.
In handling lead service line, replacements.
Yeah, still significant requirements related to it.
Okay, thank you.
Councilmember Black, anything about the budget?
You know, not necessarily about the budget, but just very proud of Carl's leadership and his team. Thinking back to where we were when I think Carl and I kind of started right around the same time, to just see where things are. I think it's a testament to what they're doing. So just you know, you all are continuing to go in the right direction, and just outstanding job, and please keep it up.
Thank you.
Any public comment on this agenda item? Seeing none, Ms. Mitchell, please call the roll on M8425.
Patterson?
Yes.
Valani?
Yes.
Baker?
Yes.
Black?
Yes.
Gavin?
Yes.
Hennan?
Yes.
Dean?
Yes, the motion has passed. Ms. Mitchell, please read item number 12 on tonight's regular agenda.
Motion number M8525, matter of authorizing the city manager to sign the Purdue opioid settlement participation form.
Is there a motion to approve M8525?
So moved.
Support.
Motion made by Councilmember Patterson with support from Councilmember Valani. Ms. Van Vleck.
Good evening. So there's been a few of these opioid settlements that have trickled down, and I think prior to my time here, you guys have passed a few of you guys have completed a few of these. So as they come through, our city attorney reviews them, takes a look at them. I bring them in front of you. There will be another one in a month from now, but we bring them in front of you to sign them for our participation. So this nationwide settlement is for $7.4 billion, and it's resolving litigation against Purdue and its owners. Michigan stands to receive up to $154 million over the next 15 years, which is dependent in part on the participation of local governments. So in order for the city of Berkeley to participate, we must execute the participation form by September 30th of this year. The participation rate amongst political subdivisions will be used to determine whether participation is sufficient for the settlement to move forward. If it moves forward, the amount the city receives will be based on the final allocation percentage. So my recommendation tonight is that City Council authorizes myself to sign the Purdue opioid settlement participation form, which has been reviewed by our city attorney.
Thank you. Any questions? Oh,
If I could, just,
yeah.
there is a reference to the percentage in city manager's memo. The proposed settlement material in your council packet is not just with Purdue Pharma. There's a number of defendants that are identified in the exhibits to the settlement agreement, including Kroger and Walgreens and Walmart and several drug manufacturers. The percentages differ slightly on the defendants, and that detail is in the settlement packet, but it's not consistent defendant to defendant. I just want to make sure that
Thank you.
council's aware of that distinction.
Thank you, Dan.
Any questions or comments from council? Councilmember Valani.
Do we have any, and I know it's nebulous, but do we have any ballpark idea of what the payout may be or a range?
I don't think so, just because it also, even if we looked back at some of the other ones, I think they differ so much, and I would assume even in their participation
Because historically
rate.
they've been quite small.
They are, yeah.
I mean, they're still good for certain things.
Yes,
like
yeah.
not. Yes.
Yes,
speaking
and there
against-
are standards around how, very strict standards on how.
Right.
And so this year with Carl, we've created our opioid funds so that all of those, all of the settlement funds over the years will go into this so that we can track very closely how we're using them. And then we're talking internally about what that can be used for realistically, because they are, I wouldn't call them substantial as when it comes to the ways that we can use them. And so we will get creative on how we can do that. Yeah.
Thank you.
Any other comments, questions from council? Okay. Any public comment on this agenda item? Seeing none, Ms. Mitchell, please call the roll on M8525.
Valani?
Yes.
Baker?
Yes.
Black?
Yes.
Gavin?
Yes.
Hennan?
Yes.
Patterson?
Yes.
Dean?
Yes, the motion has passed. Okay, we've now reached our communications portion. Ms. Mitchell, who will go first?
Councilmember Baker?
Okay.
Thank you. Hello, everybody. Historical Committee meets tomorrow evening, which is Tuesday the 9th at 7 o'clock. They're always looking for more volunteers, and if you'd like to learn more about that opportunity or what's going on, visit berkleyhistory.com. Downtown Development Authority Board meets the very next day, Wednesday, September 10th at 8:15 in the morning. I'd like to welcome aboard Nate Mack as our new Executive Director, and to learn more about what's going on in the DDA and some really cool activities and events coming up, visit downtownberkley.com. And finally, it was Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. who once said, "We must learn to live together as brothers or perish together as fools." Now, this week's Friday, the 12th, is National Just One Human Family Day. The National Just One Human Family Day reminds us that behind every role, every background, and every belief is a person deserving of respect and kindness. We work side by side with colleagues from all walks of life, each contributing to our shared mission and community. In today's increasingly authoritarian world, taking a moment to connect, listen, and lead with empathy can make all the difference. So let's honor this day by choosing understanding and remembering that we're all part of one human family. And with that, please hug somebody you love. Thank you.
Thank you. Councilmember Hennan.
Yes, the Zoning Board of Appeals has no meeting this month, and we don't know yet if they have any cases for October. And the Tree Board resumes their meetings on Monday, September 29th. That's all.
Thank you. Councilmember Black.
Nothing for this evening, Madam Mayor.
Thank you. Councilmember Patterson.
Thank you. The Beautification Advisory Committee met last Wednesday, the 27th. So it's 2 Wednesdays ago. And they are working on their final late summer, fall cleanups. And they had a discussion about the Touch a Truck event, which is coming up on Saturday, the 13th. So please make it if you can. It's a very fun event. They've also are finalizing their selection for the Landscape of the Year, so look for those signs popping up, hopefully before we know what's coming next. It's not Snowman of the Year. The Planning Commission met. Most of that we covered tonight in our meeting, which they covered. They did recommend a part of required by the state's redevelopment ready community, a joint meeting from Planning Commission, the ZBA, and us and council. So look forward for those coming up. And they decided officers, Chair Kempner will continue as chair, Dahlin as vice chair, and Armsman as secretary. So that was also an exciting meeting. So that's all I have.
Thank you. Councilmember Villani.
Thank you. The next meeting of the Environmental Advisory Committee is next Thursday, September 18th at 6:30 p.m. on the second floor of the Public Safety Building. For the Berkley Area Chamber, a chamber chat is coming up next Friday morning on the 19th at 8:30 a.m. at Legato Spa or Legato Salon on 12 Mile Road. This is open to all members of the community. And the pub crawl for Berkley. Did I get it right?
Yeah, that's
Okay.
good.
All right. For Berkley. Tickets are on sale. The pub crawl will take place on Thursday, September 25th from 5 to 11 p.m. Those who register will get a recovery bag just in case you enjoy yourself a little bit too much, and a very cool t-shirt, as well as specials at all different places in Berkley. So make sure you get those tickets early. And that is all I have.
Thank you. Mayor Pro Tem Gavin.
Thank you, Your Honor. For Parks and Rec, the first chance for public engagement will be at a meeting for the Parks and Rec 5-year master plan. It'll be Tuesday, September 16th at 7:15 at the Community Center. And the next meeting of the Advisory Board will be September 11th at 7 p.m. at the Community Center. And then for the library, History of the Detroit Lions event will be coming up at the library, and hopefully you can put yesterday's game in the rearview mirror, far behind in the rearview mirror. But it'll be Talking Lions with Dave Burkett, Monday the 15th from 6:30 to 8, and you can register and find out more information on the website. And then the next meeting of the library board will be this September 17th at 7 p.m. at the library. And that's all I have.
Thank you. Thanks. Ms. Van Vleck.
Thank you, Mayor Pro Tem, for mentioning the engagement for our Parks and Recreation Master Plan update. I just want to put another plug in for that. So we are kind of jumping off for our Parks and Recreation Master Plan update. As we talked about at the last council meeting, this is something we do every 5 years. We need to update the plan. We have brought in a consultant to do that. You guys passed that at the last meeting, and we're on a pretty tight timeline. So the first, there will be 2 very specific engagement sessions that we encourage the public to come out to. There will also be a survey. So at next week's, the 16th at 7:30 at the community center, and that's where we'll be launching the survey as well. And so the public will have quite a few chances to participate, whether they do in the survey or they come to the engagement. There will be another engagement session scheduled for October, and when we have that set, we'll also announce that to the public. So you'll be seeing some things on Facebook and our communications channels on that. So hopefully everybody participates.
Thank you. Mr. Christ?
Thank you, Mayor and Council. Just one item. I did have an opportunity to speak with Chief Judge Meineke with respect to the operations of the 44th District Court. We discussed a couple of concepts with respect to flexibility and potential efficiencies at the court. I'm going to be preparing a report for council and staff with respect to them. One of his ideas would potentially result in additional funding to the city from the district court. So that should be provided within the next couple of weeks to you.
Thank you. It's good to hear. Love the good news. As a member of the board of directors of the Michigan Municipal League, I always want to say MML, but for those who don't know what MML is, I'm on the board of directors of their workers' compensation fund, and I just returned from our quarterly board meeting last week, and we're seeing solid returns on our investments. So, which will result then in more money for the city in the form of like a premium credit, I will call it that. We were able to return $17 million to our membership in the form of a premium credit. That's not $17 million to Berkley, but so watch for that when it comes through. And then the Mayor's Roadshow, my next stop will be NACA this coming Saturday. NACA is located at 2965 West 12 Mile, right here in downtown Berkeley. And I'll be there between 2 and 4 after Touch a Truck. So I look forward to seeing everyone. And I would entertain a motion to adjourn at this point. Oh,
Support.
Okay. Motion made by Councilmember Patterson with support from Councilmember Villani. Ms. Mitchell, will you please call the roll?
Black,
Yes.
Gavin,
Yes.
Hennon,
Yes.
Patterson,
Yes.
Valani,
Yes.
Baker,
Yes.
Dean.
Yes. The Monday, September 8th, 2025 meeting of the Berkeley City Council is adjourned.
Thanks.
I know it.